attention please, ladies and gentlemen. We are welcoming all of the webinar participants. Before starting our agendas today, we will have the pre-test. You have 10 minutes to answer all of the questions. Don't miss it, because it is one of the requirements to get your e-certificate. Time start from now. Good luck. Well, everyone, time is up. Finish. Thank you for answering all of the questions. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Seminar on Medical Record and Health Information 2021, held by Poltekkes, Kemenkes, Tasikmalaya, Medical Record and Health Information Department. In the theme of the role of health information technicians in the use and development of the telemedicine in the era of pandemic. I am Poppy Melani, who will be your master of ceremony today. The Honorable Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya, Ibu Hajah Ani Radiati, Magister of Health. Honorable, the Head of Medical Record and Health Information Department, Bapak Dedi Setiadi, Magister of Health. Honorable, the Head of Central Executive Board of Mrhi, Bapak Teddy Hidayat, Magister of Hospital Management. Honorable, the Head of Branch Executive Board of Mrhi, Bapak Ivan Rizanal, Bachelor of Health Information Management, Applied Science. And Honorable, all of the Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya Medical Record and Health Information Department lecturers. Before starting our agendas today, I'd like to announce the roles of this international seminar. You can see on your own screen while I'm reading it. The rules of the International Seminar on Medical Records and Health Information 2021. First, Zoom meeting access will be opened 30 minutes before the event starts. Webinar participants who are entering the Zoom meeting must use the real name format according to the name at the time of the registration on the registration link. For the internal participants, please write down your name, internal underscore name. For the external participant, kindly to write down your name, external underscore name. For the professional participants, kindly to write down your name, PMIK underscore name. And for the general, kindly to write down your name, general underscore name. And for all the alumnus, kindly to write down your name, alumni underscore name. All of the webinar participants are required to dress modestly and behave politely during the seminar. Next, all of the participants who are entering the Zoom meeting must mute the microphone as long as seminar ongoing. The webinar participants who are entering the Zoom meeting should turn on the cameras as long as the seminar ongoing. Webinar participants are obligated to fill the absence twice. First, after the discussion session in the session 1, and then the second is on the session 2, after the discussion 2, by using the link that will be given by the committee as one of the requirements to get your e-certificate. So don't miss it. Next, all the webinar participants should fill the pre-test at the beginning of the event and fill the post-test at the end of the event, and all the link will be given by the committee as one of the requirements to get your e-certificate too. Webinar participants can purpose any questions that are written briefly through the chat room by writing the name and institution of the agency before asking. Last but not least, e-certificate will only be given to webinar participants who take part in the event from the beginning to the end of the webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, here are our agendas today. First, we will have to sing our national anthem and then continue by Mars. And then read the Holy Quran, continue by speeches. The first we have report from Chief or Organized Committee, and continue by the Head of Medical Record and Health Information, and continue to Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya that will open this seminar formally. And then we will enter our main agenda, that is seminar session. This seminar will be divided into 2 sessions. In the first session, we will have Ibu Diana Barsasela, Magister of Public Health and PhD candidate, with the topic of usage, implementation, and improvement of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. And then the second speaker, we will have Bapak Surahyo Sumarsono, Master Engineering Science, with the topic of implementation of telemedicine for medical practice in Indonesia. Then we will have a nice breaking before entering to the next session. And in the second session, we will have 2 speakers left. The first will be continued by Bapak Ari Susanto, Magister of Hospital Management, with the topic of challenges and obstacles for medical recorder in the implementation of telemedicine. And last but not least, we will have Professor Shabir, PhD, with the topic of the effectiveness of using telemedicine or mobile health to reduce the COVID-19 transmission. Then we will have a documentation before closing the event. So for all the participants, please turn on your camera and enjoy the seminar until it ends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's sing our national anthem, Indonesia Raya, continued by Mars Poltekkes and Mars Rmik. For all participants, please stand up. For all participants, please have a seat. Thank you. Next, we will hear the read of Holy Al-Quran, and it means that will be read by Ninda and Laila. To Ninda and Laila, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ar-Rahmanu 'allamal Qur'ana khalaqal insana 'allamahul bayan. Asy-syamsu wal qamaru bihusbani wan najmu wasyajaru yasjudan. Was-samaa'a rafa'aha wa wada'al mizan. Was-samaa'a rafa'aha wa wada'al mizana alla tatghaw fil mizan. Wa-aqimul wazna bil-qisti wa-la tukhsirul mizan. Wal-ardu wada'aha lil-anami fiha fakihatu wan-nakhlu dhatul akmam. Wal-habbu dzul 'asfi war-rayhan. Wal-habbu dzul 'asfi war-rayhan. Fabi ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, the most merciful, taught the Quran, created man, and taught him eloquence. The sun and the moon move by precise calculation, and the stars and trees prostrate, and the heaven he raised and imposed the balance, that do not transgress within the balance, and establish weight in justice, and do not make deficient the balance. And the earth he laid out for the creators. The rain is fruit, and palm trees having seed of that, and grain having husk, and scant plants, savage of the favor of your Lord. Would you deny it? Truth Allah the most magnificent. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Juninda and Laila. May Allah always bless us, and this event will be run perfectly till the end of this event. Now, we will hear the report from the head of organizing committee that will be delivered by Putri Nurdiani. To Putri, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and best wishes for all of us. The Honorable Mrs. Hajah Ani Radiati, Bachelor of Education, Magister of Health, as Director of Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya. The Honorable Mr. Haji Dedi Setiadi, Bachelor of Public Health, Magister of Health, as Head of the Department of Medical Record and Health Information of Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya that I respect. The Honorable Padisa Muhammad Haikal, as Chairman of Student Association of Medical Record and Health Information. The Honorable Mr. and Mrs. Speaker for this morning webinar that I respect, as well as lecturers, staff, and committee and participants of international seminar majoring in medical record and health information at Health Polytechnic of Ministry of Health Tasikmalaya that I love. My beloved audience, first of all, let's thank to Allah our God Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us some mercies and blessings until we can attend in this happy morning on an occasion without any trouble and obstacle. Secondly, our salawat and salam always be given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness to the lightness. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that the theme of our webinar is the role of health information technician in the use of development of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. In this morning, we will both learn about how to use and develop telemedicine effectively. Before that, I would like to say thank you for all participants who have participated in this international seminar. Maybe that's all I can say. Sorry if there are many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Putri, for your report. Well, everyone, entering our next agenda, we will have the speech from our head of Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya Medical Record and Health Information Department, Bapak Dedi Setiadi, Magister of Health. To Bapak Dedi, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Director of Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry, Tasikmalaya, Mrs. Ani Radiati, Bachelor of Education, Master of Health, Mr. Professor Dr. Sabir Said Abdul, medical doctor, Master of PhD. Mr. Surahyo Sumarsono, Bachelor of Engineering, Master of Engineering Science. Mr. Ari Susanto, Medical Report Specialist, Bachelor of Engineering, Master of Hospital Management. Miss Diana Barsasela, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Public Health, Master of Public Health. Lecture of Medical Record and Health Information, the Student Association of Medical Record and Health Information, and all the audience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's say praise to Hadrat Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, who give us thousands of favor until today. Salawat as well as greeting to our Prophet Muhammad that has been being a model to be emulated. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dedi Setiadi, head of diploma program in medical record and health information. Today, I'm feeling wonderful to be able to attend an international seminar of medical record and health information with the topic, the role of health information technician in the development of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the Department of Medical Record and Health Information in the Poltekkes of Health Ministry, Tasikmalaya, has been established for 11 years. Medical record and health information has a responsible work to our develop the three dharma of quality consistent of education, research, community service. We have used a lot to work to be able to improve this department. In terms of education, we have produced quality graduate through national level achievement, 100% competency test result, and many more achievement as well research and community service. As a department, we have this vision to become an advanced department in information technology of globally competitive. We strive to develop science of technology in the field of medical record and health information, including sharing knowledge, skill, such as the international seminar held today. Why is it important to have? Because of the user demand in the market of user item of electronic information system. Moreover, recently we faced the pandemic situation that changed all life situation, including health service. Ladies and gentlemen, this activity is held by the Student Association of Medical Record and Health Information Department, which coincides with the 10-year anniversary of the establishment of the Student Association of Medical Record and Health Information, which strives continue to involve by holding this fourth international seminar activity. Therefore, as the head of the department, appreciate the student association and community committee of the have worked hard to organize this event. I hope all students continue to improve their creativity, because at this time, this country is waiting for people who is having his competence. Last but not least, I would like to thank and appreciate and the speaker who have prepared the time to participate in this seminar. Hopefully, the knowledge conveyed can be used for the development of science in the field to medical record and health information during the current pandemic. And I hope all of you always continue to comply with health protocol during the pandemic. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to Bapak Dedi for your incredible speeches and words. Next, we will have the speech from our Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya, Ibu Hajah Ani Radiati, Magister of Health, that will also open this seminar visually. To Ibu Hajah Ani, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to all who participate in the first international seminar organized by the Department of Diploma Program of Medical Record and Health Information at Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya, Jakarta. My name is Ani Radiati, as the Director of Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya. I am honored to give a speech in this extraordinary meeting. Please excuse me, I will start the webinar by warmly welcoming you to the International Seminar on Medical Record and Health Information 2021. Before starting the seminar, I would like to express my appreciation to the research person, Ms. Diana Bersasela. Assalamualaikum, Ibu Diana. Selamat datang di sini di dunia maya. Cepat pulang ya, Bu Diana.
Waalaikumsalam, insya Allah Bu.
Ya, mungkin para mahasiswa tinggal 1-2 belum kenal Bu Diana ini. Bu Diana ini luar biasa. Beliau adalah dosen kita ya yang sekarang sedang mengambil program doktor di Thailand ya Bu Diana.
Taiwan Bu.
Oh Taiwan ya, sorry. Taiwan COVID-nya bagus kan Bu?
Iya Bu.
0 ya. And then Mr. Surahyo Sumarsono di MRI, Mr. Adi Susanto, MD Perkes, ST, MMRS, Profesor Sabir Syekh Abdul, MD, MSc, PhD, and then Head of the Department of Medical Record and Health Information and Anti-Activities, Student Association of Medical Record and Health Information in Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya. The whole committee, all of you guys at amazing, and all the happy seminar participation. We thank the entire committee as well for being kind and working had us really see this international seminar. Also, we would like to thank all participants of the international seminar. We also with Student Association of on Medical Record and Health Information in Health Polytechnic of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya. Good luck and success. You are amazing for being able to organize extraordinary activities in the midst of the pandemic. Subsequently, we will also continue to try and pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that COVID will soon subside. International seminar entitled The Role of Health Information Technician in the Use on and Development of the Telemedicine in the Era of Pandemic. The theme is appropriate with user demand and the marker or user in terms of electronic information system. This international seminar presents speakers who are experts in their scientific field from several countries, namely Indonesia and Taipei. Hopefully, we can share knowledge and expertise from various countries through international seminar. And the international seminar is expected to increase knowledge, especially in science and technology in the field of medical record and health information. This international seminar was also attended by 695 participants from various countries and institutions. I won't use your time anymore. I have to leave in to the house. And the request for the International Seminar Committee opened by Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. On behalf of the organizer of the International Seminar, that you like to welcome you and officially open this event. Nice to meet you here. Enjoy International Seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Haja Ani, for your speech, and it signs that this seminar has opened officially. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we will enter our main agenda. This is the seminar station, but before that, I'd like to invite our moderator today, Bapak Arif Tarmansyah, Magister of Public Health. To Bapak Arif. Okay, everyone, now we have Bapak Arif Tarmansyah. Please have a seat, Pak. Okay. Okay. Before starting our seminar station, I'd like to introduce our moderator today, Bapak Arif Tarmansyah, Magister of Public Health. He has his master degree of Public Health from Pajajaran University at 2012. And of course, he has so many experiences in the job and organizations. And for the newest, he is the head of Unit Technology and Information at Health Poltekkes of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya since 2019 till now. And then before that, he was the head of diploma program in medical recorder and health information at Health Poltekkes of Health Ministry Tasikmalaya, started from 2017 till 2019. And of course, there are many organizational experiences. And the newest is he is an advisor of Indonesian Association on Medical Recorders and Health Information Professionals Organization in Springer. Okay, welcome Pak Arif.
Thank you, Poppy.
Okay, how are you, Pak?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, the time is yours. I'm over to you.
Okay, thank you, Poppy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? I hope you all are doing well. Thank you for being here this morning. My name is Arif Tanwan Syaiman. I'm one of the lecturers at Health Polytechnic Tasikmalaya. It is my pleasure to be a moderator of this international webinar event about the role of health information technician in the use and development of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. Talking about this topic, today we have 4 expert speakers that will talk about the role of health information technician in the use of development of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. Okay, As I mentioned before, this seminar will be divided into two sessions. In the first session, we have two speakers and two speakers in the second session. Each speaker has 30 minutes to deliver their presentation, and each session will have the discussion or Q&A session. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's speakers by typing your question in the Google form that is provided by committee or in the chat room on your screen. And you may send your question anytime during the presentation, and we will collect this and address them during the Q&A session at the end of presentation. Okay, without any further, let's start our first session. Today, I would like to introduce you to our first speaker, Ms. Diana Barsasela, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Public Health, and Master of Public Health. Assalamualaikum, Ms. Diana. How are you today? Okay. Now, yeah, this is a CP, the full CP of her will shown on your screen. Ms. Diana Barsasela is an assistant professor in Poltekkes Tasikmalaya. Today, she is an PhD candidate in Graduate Institute of Biomedical Informatics in Taipei Medical University, Taiwan. He received some awards from Taipei Medical University Scholarship 2018 until 2020, BPS Scholarship Directorate General of Higher Education 2011 and until 2013, and now Ms. Diana Barsasela will sharing with us his expert opinion about usage, implementation, and improvement of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. Ms. Diana Barsasela, time is yours. Okay, Ms. Diana, are you there? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we hear the presentation from Ms. Diana, don't mention if you have a question to write down on the chat, so you can communicate with the speakers. Okay, Ms. Diana, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Let me share my screen first. Yeah. It is wonderful to have a great opportunity to talk in this international seminar. My name is Diana Barsasela. Today, I would like to talk about the fundamental usage, implementation, and improvement of telemedicine in the era of pandemic. Before I'm talking further, let me talk about the term of e-health, telehealth, telemedicine, and telecare. This figure shows that e-health is broader than others. Just take a look at the main point of each word. E-health is not only over distance, and telehealth is a preventive, promotive, and curative healthcare delivered at a distance. Telemedicine is a curative healthcare delivered at a distance, and this one is telecare. I will explain it more clearly in the next slide. This is e-health. E-health is an abbreviation of electronic health. So e-health is combined use of electronic communication and information technology in the health sector to share, store, and retrieve electronic health data. It's used to prevent, for prevention, diagnosis, treatment, monitoring, educational, and administrative purpose, both at the local site or at distance. This figure 2 shows the domain of e-health involving the healthcare administration and support, education, healthcare delivery, and research. We can see that there is the telemedicine here. Telemedicine includes disease management service, remote patient monitoring, teleconsultations, and home care. And also there is clinical information systems, include electronic medical records, decision support, and monitoring of clinical and institutional practice. And there is the integrated networks. It consisted of this integrated regional and national information networks and associated e-referrals and e-prescribing. Also in here, you can see the big data, the large scale integration and analysis of heterogeneous data sources, usually of high volume, amount of data, velocity, speed of data in and out, and variety range of data types and source. Ideally, it will be linked at the individual person level to provide a more holistic view of a patient. This figure 3 shows electronic or e-health technologies and healthcare. This is one example of the use of digital and remote communication technologies as a tool of e-health for multiple sclerosis management. Advances in mobile communications have led to the introduction of electronic health technologies, which are helping to improve both access to and quality of healthcare services. So the development of digital applications and remote communication technologies for patients with multiple sclerosis has increased rapidly in recent years. These apps are intended to complete the traditional in-clinic approaches, and it can bring significant benefits to both patients with multiple sclerosis and also healthcare providers, HCPs as well. And I will continue to talking about the telehealth. Telehealth is delivery of healthcare services by all healthcare professionals, where distance is a critical factor through the use of information communication technology to provide preventive, promotive, and curative healthcare services. Research and evaluation, health administration services, and continuing education of healthcare providers. Telehealth is a newer and broader term, including telemedicine and telecare. We can see in this figure that for the telehealth, no restriction degree, no restriction services, no restriction communication. So it doesn't need a degree to conduct the telehealth. In this telehealth, we can involve the patients, doctors, pharmacists, and also drivers in here, like Gojek. Okay. This one is telemedicine. Telemedicine is delivery of healthcare services by all healthcare professionals, where distance is a critical factor through the use of information communication technology, especially two-way interactive audio video communication and telemetry system to deliver healthcare services. It is mainly curative, not like the telehealth. Telehealth, we are focused not only for curative and services to remote patients and to facilitate information exchange between primary care physicians and specialists at some distance from each other. We can take this Temenin, yeah, Telemedicine Indonesia. It's made by, it belongs to Ministry of Health, Republic of Indonesia, as an example. And other term is telecare. Telecare is use of information communication technology like alerts and sensing technologies for the continuous, automatic, and remote monitoring of care needs. Emergencies and lifestyle changes of elderly or vulnerable individuals with physical or mental disabilities for the provision of personalized care services at a distance. We can see this, several telecal sensors like pendant, pill dispenser, and smoke detector, temperature, extreme sensor, fluid detector, movement detector, bed sensor, false detector. So back to the this slide. So after I explain about the terms of these four terms, then I would like to deliver about evolution in telemedicine communication technology. This one. We can see that from this figure, it shows the evolution in telemedicine communication technology. Let's start for the period 1850 to 1900. At that time, we only have the telegraph and radio as the devices and use the connectivity, Morse code, radio waves. This is the telegraph and Morse code, earliest device used in telemedicine communication. The telegraph, also known as the Victorian internet, was the first device used in delivering distance medical care in the 1860s. During the Civil War, the telegraph actually was used for transmission of messages about wounded soldiers to aid medical teams. So the idea of transmission of clinical and diagnostic data was explored in the beginning of the 20th century. From this figure, now we move to the period of 1900 and 1940. In this era, the devices are radio and telephone, and the connectivity are using radio waves and telephone network. In 1900 until 1940, we can see in the picture there is the radio doctor here. The radio doctor published in 1924 predicted the possibilities of remote medical care. Some major devices invented following the telegraph were the radio and telephone. Using radio for medical consultation was explored in Europe, Australia, North America, mainly for providing medical care to ship crews. Okay, we continue to 1940 until 1970. They used the devices, telephone and TV, and the connectivity is using telephone network and TV analog transmission. So the television had gained popularity and was also used in clinical care, medical education, and demonstration of surgical procedures. One famous example was the blue baby operation performed at Johns Hopkins Hospital by Dr. Alfred Blalock, and was broadcast using closed circuit television to hundreds of surgeons. And this is the telemedicine system used by Grundy on 1970 to 2000. Actually, the telemedicine network involved a connection between the University Hospital, UH, of Cleveland at Case Western Reserve University, and Forest City Hospital, a small hospital that lacked intensive care specialists. Critical care specialists assessed using telemedicine was provided to both adults and children. Now we continue to the next year, which we are still using the telephone and TV, but we also use the computer in that era. The connectivity use telephone network, TV, and analog transmission. These 2 decades were marked by a rapid evolution in technology, hardware, like smartphone, tablets, telemedicine devices, software, mobile application, connectivity, cellular broadband, various telemedicine devices along with peripheral have been developed that facilitated remote care. The smartphone revolution enabled consumers to access healthcare through their handheld devices. Okay, here I want to share. There are several kinds example of the telemedicine. One of them is teleradiology. Teleradiology is the transmission of radiological patient images such as X-rays, CTs, and MRIs from one location to another for purposes of sharing studies with other radiologists and physicians. Teleradiology is a growth technology given that imaging procedures are growing approximately 15% annually against an increase of only 2% in the radiologist population. So we can see from this figure that how the teleradiology works from this figure. There is a registration, exam performed, image assigning and reporting, authorizing, delivery. It will be more useful, especially in this pandemic era. And then another kinds of the telemedicine also, there is the telepathology. Telepathology is the practice of pathology at a distance. It uses telecommunication technology to facilitate the transfer of image-rich pathology data between distant locations for the purpose of diagnosis, education, and research. We can also see from the figure how the telepathology works. There is also several tools here with a high technology like PAT scan, macroscopy station, and the nano zoomer, and send the data to video conference device. And then there is a bamboo drawing tablet, and there is a Mixscope software, telepathology server, and nano zoomer slide scanner. And this is also another kind of telemedicine. We call it teledermatology, dermatology for skin. Dermatology is a subspecialty in the medical field of dermatology and probably one of the most common applications of telemedicine and electronic health. In teledermatology, telecommunication technologies are used to exchange medical information concerning skin condition and tumors of the skin over a distance using audio, visual, data communication. And applications comprise healthcare management such as diagnosis, consultation, treatment, as well as continuous education. From this, we can see the steps involved in patients' assisted teledermatology practices for cases diagnosis. You can see in here, in this side, the left side is the patient, and this is a dermatologist. They use the spot diagnosis spotters and give the suggest treatment. Just take the picture and then send to the dermatologist, and dermatologist give the diagnosis and suggest the treatment. And this is the telepsychiatry. Telepsychiatry is a process that uses a telecommunication device also to provide psychiatric services to people who are separated from psychiatrists by a distance, and people who feel more comfortable at home. And from this figure, we can see this is the patient on the right side. On the left side, this is the physiatrist. And also have the more complete tools in the PC. There is speaker, also use the geosynchronous satellite, also have the camera both sides, and there is the microphone, so they can the patient can talk and do consultation to the physiatrist at home, and no need to go outside from home to meet the physiatrist. Just talk in front of the computer to overcome the problem. And another example is telecardiology. Telecardiology is a modern medical practice also that uses the power of telecommunications to achieve the remote diagnosis and treatment of heart disease. This includes coronary heart disease, both chronic and acute, as well as arrhythmias, congestive cardiac failure, and sudden cardiac arrest. We can see from the figure that from the patient side, the patients have these tools, a blood pressure monitor, electrocardiogram device, and pulse oximetry sensor. By using these tools, it will be recorded by the cardiac pulmonary medical device. And then the data will be sent as health record with the facility of a mobile cellular network to the specialist hospital. It will be recorded in the hospital information system. Then the healthcare professionals will check and do the examination to the patient. This is also another example, Tele Surgery. Tele Surgery is an emerging surgical system that utilizes wireless networking and robotic technology to connect the surgeon and patients who are distantly located from one another. So the surgeon will instruct the robot through the computer, like this. In the left side, this is an example of the surgeon, and we imagine that the patient is at a distance far away from the surgeon, for example, in the rural area, or maybe in hospital, in another hospital. So this robot will do surgery to the patient by accepted instruction from the physician in other side, in far away. So you can imagine that the doctor do operation in here as if the physicians do directly to the patients. But I think maybe I also already afraid when I see these kinds of robot, if this robot want to do the surgery to my body. I don't know, maybe audience also have the same feeling with me. Okay, and this is Tele Rehabilitation. The telerehabilitation, or also it can be called as e-rehabilitation, is the delivery of rehabilitation services over telecommunication networks and the internet. The telerehabilitation allows patients to interact with the providers remotely and can be used both to assess patients and to deliver the therapy. And we can see from the picture, this is how they do the telerehabilitation. This is the clinical side, and this one is the patient's home side. Patient just sit down in front of the computer, and then also have the typical telerehabilitation exercises. So when the physician instruct the patients to do something, then patient should do according to his instruction. But it should have the high-speed internet service. And also the patient should prepare the bigger TV screen, like a 20 inches LCD TV, and with integrated speakers. So the patients can imagine as if the physician is in front of him directly. And this is the, if we are talking the telemedicine in the era of pandemic, why telemedicine now? Of course, it is needed to decrease our contact with healthcare facilities, other patients, healthcare staff, in order to reduce the risk of COVID-19 and keep you and your family healthy. And what are the benefits of telemedicine in the pandemic era? It is allow people to talk to the doctor live over the phone or video chat, and also allows patient to send and receive messages. Allows for remote monitoring of patients, save time and cost. It means save travel time and also the transportation cost, because the patients just stay at home, and reduce the wait time for the health services, and also reduce number of visits to clinic as well. We can imagine that this is one of the technology invented in Taiwan recently. So they can check the COVID-19 by using this phone and connect it to the program. Okay, I think that's all what I could tell you for the time being. I will give back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. D.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for such an insightful presentation, Ms. Diana. And I would like to highlight from your presentation that attract me Nowadays, telemedicine is not just a tele-anamnesis or consultation between doctor and patient, but also support by high-tech device and development of technology. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are proudly present now for the second speaker, Mr. Surahyo Sumarsono, Bachelor of Engineering, Master of Engineering Science from Indonesia. Whose CV will sound on your screen, and I will read some of them. Okay. Today, Mr. Surahyo is a PhD candidate in health informatics or telemedicine at the University of Groningen, the Netherlands. He also director and senior consultant of Kertiasa Niwanda Kawasita, IT consulting and training. And he also director of Inisindo Jogja. I think all of you must heard Inisindo in 21 until 2010. Yeah. He also lectures and researcher at the Health Management Information, Kemenkes Medical Faculty of Gajah Mada University, Master of Management Gajah Mada University, and lot of high school. Yeah? And this is the contact of Mr. Surahyo. You can see fully at linkedin.com. Okay, for today, he will sharing with us about telemedicine implementation in medical practice in Indonesia. Mr. Surahyo, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Pak Arif.
Okay, thank you, Pak Surahyo. But then, please give your full attention, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Surahyo Sumarsono. Mr., the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Good morning for everyone. I hope you are doing well and still in good condition, healthy, because now in pandemic situation, we should keep our health properly. First of all, I would like to thank to all the student association in medical record of the Poltekkes Kemenkes Tasikmalaya for inviting me to share my story. Of course, I would like to thank also to the Ibu Direktur, Ibu Ani, and Pak Kajur, Pak Dedi, allowing me to share my experience in this wonderful occasion. I think all of you already watching the presentation by Ibu Diana. I think Ibu Diana has explained a lot about the telemedicine and things. And here I would like to share my experience being involved in telemedicine activities since 2015, including my activities in Ministry of Health, helping for the Telemedicine Indonesia. Also recently, we conducted assessment with UNDP, United Nations Development Program, for all the telemedicine provider in Aliansi Telemedicine Indonesia, especially during the pandemic, and some other experience as well. So please allow me to share my presentation here. Can all of you see my presentation here? Is it all right?
Mr. Surahyo.
Okay then, yes, thank you very much. So then I would like to start my presentation here. Please also inform me if my time is going to be finished. Yeah, okay. So then, yes, the title will be Telemedicine Implementation in Medical Practice in Indonesia. Actually, if we are talking about telemedicine, by the definition, I think Budiana already explained a lot. So, but here we will see how can be implemented in, especially in developing country like Indonesia, and also with a lot of challenges like the infrastructure limitation, maybe low digital literacy from the citizen, and many other things. So here, let me show some story about it. Okay, I think you already was explained by Pak Arif about my CV. So let's start about the framework from the Ministry of Health in 2020. The Ministry of Health already also again describe what is four pillars of the digital ecosystem of health services in Indonesia. The first one is about the electronic health record. I think this is all about your field for all students who are studying here in this Poltekkes or maybe from other university or institution. It focusing in health information system, local system, and web or cloud-based system. We also talking about the e-pharmacy. This is about the pharmaceutical electronic system, electronic prescription, and the pharmaceutical marketplace. During the pandemic, this is also very important, especially from BPOM. They also established a regulation to support us to buy like drug and many other things during the pandemic, because is it very dangerous if we go outside by ourselves, so that you can use Gojek, Grab, and any other thing to buy online prescription. Of course, with all the we have to comply with the regulation. The other one is for the mobile health. I think this is also very important for Indonesian people, because as you know, internet penetration and also the use of mobile health in Indonesia is very high. I will show you the data afterward. And today we will be also more focusing on telemedicine, especially like Ibu Diana explained before. We also talking about telehealth and with a broader perspective, but also we can see in telemedicine we can also use for teletraining, teleconsultation, teleeducation, telemonitoring, and many others. And yes, teleconsultation and telemonitoring will become very important during the pandemic, especially for the self-quarantine, or we can say in Indonesia is isoman, isolasi mandiri, right? This is definition, I think already explained by Ibu Diana, but if we refer to WHO, it's very simple. This is in 2016, delivery of healthcare services where patient and provider are separated by distance. It's a simple one, right? And we use ICT. What can be used for the ICT to support this activity? For the diagnosis and treatment of disease and injuries, for the research and evaluation, continuing education of health professionals. What kind of ICT can be used? We can refer to the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, also one of the body from the UN. It can be used for radio, television, telephone and mobile phone, computer, and of course, internet. So if we refer to the radio, like 2-meter bands of radio, if you are familiar with HT, the talk used by, let's say, security people in banking and many other area. If you go to the rural area in, let's say, in Sumatra, Kalimantan, and Papua, conversation among medical doctors and primary healthcare, sometimes they just use the radio because it's the easiest way and the most reliable technology can be used in rural area, something like that. So we cannot rely on internet at all, because you know the problem of the infrastructure is still exists there. And basically, by WHO, we can divide into two groups of telemedicine. One is client to provider. I think this is directly from the doctor to the medical doctor to the patient. But again, the WHO highlight this under the condition that it complements rather than replace face-to-face delivery of health services. So meaning that it's only for the complementary. Yeah? And the other one will be a provider to provider telemedicine. I think I will be explaining later on about how we can use Temenin or Telemedicine Indonesia to support the teleconsultation among medical doctors from primary healthcare to the district district hospital to the center hospital and many other things. And if we refer to the HIMMS, yeah, Health Information Management System, there are many levels actually in the telemedicine, and Indonesia maybe we at the moment we only reach in the level 2 at least, yeah. And the level 0 is about the just beginning the telemedicine start maybe initiated by the government, also the private provider and so on. And there are some also education socialization about the use of telemedicine, maybe also just use WhatsApp, Line, any other technology like Skype for video call, or even SMS texting, even also the older technology like radio, yeah, 2-meter radio and then because of the use of the better bandwidth for the infrastructure, we can use video conference for the level 1 to support provider to providers consultation and education like we are doing now. In WhatsApp, we can use video call and line and Skype and many other things. And also goes to the level 2, we can also transmit the personal clinical data and customize education to the patient through some dedicated portal and so on. And if we go further to the level 3, we can use some specific camera to take a picture, maybe to record the video, like maybe for the Teleradiology, for ophthalmology, maybe also for the Kemenkes and many other things. So watching something, we can use some simple digital ECG, or maybe we can use digital USG and many other things. Or even we can also scan our X-ray image using high resolution scanner. Maybe you are familiar with the CR or computed radiology and many others. So then it goes to 6, 5, 6, 7, and many others. So there are many levels actually. So then Indonesia, fortunately, we already started seriously since few years ago, and now we are going to level 2, 3, and so on, something like that. Hopefully we can go to until level 7 someday. Yeah? So also why telemedicine is very important in Indonesia. If we see the distribution of the health facilities, you can see this imbalance. This is again imbalance. You can see most of them are in western part of Indonesia, like in Java, Sumatra, Bali. You see this like 50%, 24%, and we see this not enough health facilities in eastern part of Indonesia, as well as you see the distribution of the specialists, yeah, like let's say pediatrics, obstetrics, internists, and so on. If you see, this is a little bit old data gathered from the Ministry of Health website. It's 2015, but mostly, yeah, almost the same with right now. I think more than at the time is all 80%, 83% are in Western Indonesia, but nowadays maybe just like 70, hopefully going to 60%. Yeah, I think there are many also putra daerah goes back to their kampung and helping people there, something like that. But this is also the challenge for us. Yeah. And as explained by the definition of WHO, we have two groups of the telemedicine. One is the between provider to provider, and we already have telemedicine in this autonomy. I will tell you the story about this. It's belong to the Ministry of Health. And also we have what we call integrated referral system or SISRUTA, also belong to the Ministry of Health. But if talking about the direct telemedicine between the doctor to the patient, we have from Ministry of Health, they have Sehatpedia, from the hospital to the client. There are many, especially also in doing the isoman. I think during this pandemic situation, a lot of hospitals develop their, to extend their hospital information system to serve their existing patient using some kind of technology, like a simple one using WhatsApp or some dedicated application. Like here, I choose the example from Sarjito because I'm from Yogyakarta. From the Sarjito Hospital, it has what we call tekon. Tekon in Indonesian, in Javanese word meaning asking, yeah, telemedicine consultation. Also, there are many kind of telemedicine conducted in primary healthcare. I think there are many primary healthcare or puskesmas already have the simple system informasi for puskesmas, and they also extend their services to enable the doctor to support the communication, consultation using some kind of technology like WhatsApp or maybe some specific application. And of course, there are many private companies who are developing all the telemedicine solution, like here in the group called Atensi, alias Telemedicine Indonesia. You are familiar with Halodoc, Dr. Emily, and also there are many other groups as well outside there. Yeah? This is the story about the history about the telemedicine Indonesia, and this is the official one, because unofficial one we already started many years ago as well. But in Ministry of Health, officially we started the telemedicine program in 2012. It supported for the tele ECG and teleradiology. I think Bu Widiana already explained that teleradiology, one of the oldest telemedicine in the world. And yes, it worked, but somehow at that time, you know, about the limitation of the infrastructure. Like at that time, it's only 2G, 3G, and so on. So many hospitals couldn't send high quality image. Then it's become difficult, and so that it didn't work well. And in the 2014, the Ministry of Health upgraded the system to the better teleradiology system. I think it's very good system actually. It's still working now, but somehow again, also like 2012 or 14, also goes to the 2016. It involves the private sector, meaning that in 2016, we also hired a telemedicine solution from one private company. Actually, it was initiated in Makassar and adopted into Ministry of Health for the tele ECG, USG, and teleconsultation. It's very good program, but Ministry of Health has to pay annual rent. It'll take a lot of money. And then finally in 2017, we decided to develop the telemedicine system by ourselves called Temenin. Yeah, be my friend for the simple meaning. But it sort stands for Telemedicine Indonesia, and it's free, so it can be used for all the health facilities, not only for the government, also for the private sector as well. Just you register to the Ministry of Health, you can be used. Again, this is for health, be among health facilities, yeah, provider to provider, and so on, something like that. And this is the Temenin website. This is a web-based application. It's very easy to use. As you see here, you can see some menu here, like you got all the data of the patient. We can put everything there. Also, you can just read the NIK, yeah, and give you some basic information about the patient. Then after the word, the GP will add some additional information about that. It's like resume medicine, yeah, something like that. And we can use then, we want to, let's say, have a consultation to upper or the referring hospital in kabupaten or in province, yeah. You go there using teleradiology, USG, or teleconsultasi. I think not only for USG and ACG, but also you can consult from the dermatology problem, for ophthalmology, for the kids problem, and many other things, something like that. Yeah, it goes well, but we still doing some evaluation to improve the and luckily also we have the regulation supported. In 2019, we have Kemenkes, Peraturan Menteri Kesehatan number 20 to support the telemedicine among providers, yeah, something like that. This is how it works. Basically simple. The technology is already there many years ago. After, especially if looking or comparing to the technology used by the banking system, yeah, it's much more sophisticated. This one is very simple actually. The server is itself in the Ministry of Health, and we can use just any kind of internet connection. We can install application. We can use just a web notebook, PC, or mobile phone, connect to the website of Temenin, doing login, send some data about that, send some picture or movie or whatever, then to be sent to the specialists, and they will read and give some expertise and send back to the. But good thing about the telemedicine in Indonesia or Temenin is everything is centralized in Ministry of Health. Because a lot of like GP asking me why about using Temenin, but we already have WhatsApp, we already have email and blah blah blah. But again, WhatsApp, email is isolated. It's only in their system, so the government cannot monitor, cannot see the, let's say, the what's the problem in the population or something like that. And also, of course, this is also supported by the security system like HTTPS and many other things. But in the future, also we will implement like digital signature and many other things. Okay. At the moment, I took this data like week ago, maybe, is rumah sakit hospital already is 61, and the referring health facilities like primary healthcare or district hospital is 175, and a lot of medical doctor are also involved here, like radiologists is 135, and many other things out there. This is the utilization of Temenin. I extracted from the server of Temenin. Likely also in Sarjito, we also have a system to directly access. We are also supported by the INSTI, Instalasi Teknologi Informasi from Sarjito Hospital. So then we can see in the dashboard that recently in 2020, the most active provinces from Sumatera Utara, Papua Barat is very interesting because you see the rural area is more active than people in Jawa Tengah or maybe in Yogyakarta or in Jawa Barat. As you see now that, yeah, it's easy because if you live in Tasikmalaya and Yogyakarta, you can go easily to health facilities. But people who live in rural area in Papua and many other things, they have to travel like 5 hours to taking boat or many other things. It's very complicated about that. This is also the some analytical data that we retrieve from the server. The pemanfaatan telemedicine, the use of telemedicine, and like mostly is for teleradiology. As you see something like here in the graphic. Also, some of them try to try to use the teleconsultasi and the USG, but still very low number. So we have to push. We have to doing more education, promoting them to use more, especially in during the pandemic. This is the one of the example from telemedicine provided by the hospital. I captured it from the Sarjito Hospital. It has taken telemedicine consultancy, but again here in telemedicine, because we refer to the regulation Kemenkes 20, and also last year Ministry of Health delivered Surat Edaran 303 2020 to use the telemedicine during the pandemic, and also for per council number 74. In hospital, mostly they only use telemedicine for existing patient, meaning that they already have the medical record inside the hospital, and also they have to have informed consent, something like that. Because we're talking about the patient safety, delivering the best service, and many other things. This is also be done in another hospital, in RSCM, and maybe in Tasikmalaya, and many other things. So usually in telemedicine provided by the hospital is only support for existing patient or the new patient with some procedure, the proper procedure, like how to record the medical record properly, how to get the informed consent, and many other things. Also, the Ministry of Health also has a mobile application to support the telemedicine called Sehatpedia. It started in 2018 in February. It also goes wider and wider with some of the feature showing here, like for the emergency medical ID, magazine, and journal, health article, chat, and many other things. And during the COVID, also it has some feature to support, like from the sharing the COVID article, how to prevent the hoax or false information, and many other things. Of course, during the pandemic, it also support teleconsultation for everyone who are doing the self quarantine or isoman. If talking about the private company who are serving telemedicine, I took an example here from the Atensi, Aliansi Telemedicine Indonesia. There are many actually. At the time we conducted assessment is only 29 members, but now it's growing bigger and bigger. So we conducted. I was hired by the UNDP to do the assessment, and we are trying to understand how the private telemedicine providers serve the Indonesian people using the telemedicine services. So they conducted during the November 2020 to January to 2021, and mostly they already has some service throughout Indonesia, but some of them are only in Java, Sumatra, and so on. And also many of them also already have cooperation with the health facilities, because if you refer to the telemedicine regulation, the medical doctor has to have STR and SIP, right? So meaning that they already work in one of the healthcare facilities, something like that. So they also have, many of them already have ethic committee ownership, because we're talking about digital things. Every data of the patient will be sent, will be distributed, will be transferred using the internet, using the public network. And if there is an accident, someone can see it, and so on. How can we handle if there is problem, something like that, and how they can also use the medical data of the patient properly. Of course, it should have ethic committee, yeah? And most of them in the composition of the HR, on the human resource, medical specialist, GP, of course, the biggest one, dentist, psychotherapist, nutritionist, and many other things, something like that, yeah. And here, the most provided telemedicine services is about teleconsultation between patient and health worker, and mostly about the conversation between the patient and the doctor itself. Also about the publication of the information, online direct services, which sometimes they also will be cooperating with like Gojek or Grab and many other things. And the most access telemedicine service, again, same thing, is about the teleconsultation and health article. The other one is about the online appointment and blah, 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 something like that. If you see here, because of the pandemic, most provided online consultations is mostly about the COVID itself. The next one will be for the internal medicine, like endocrinology, oncology, geriatric, and so on, dermatology, and many other things. And as you see, because of the highest penetration of the internet use, region with the highest telemedicine user are from DKI Jakarta, West Java, East Java, Central Java, and so on. Still, we have to expand more in rural area outside of Java Island, something like that. Okay, the user mostly women. I think this is also very unique situation, but in Indonesia, mostly people in family, people who most care about the health is mother, right? Or maybe someone who are there. So the meaning that the demographic of the user of telemedicine is mostly a woman, 63%, and the age are between 30 to 50 years. Yeah, I mean one of the most established citizen in Indonesia, something like that. And the consultant fee, yeah, surprisingly, is not that expensive, from 10,000 to 20 for the general consulting fee. Some of them 40 to 60, and for the specialists, it's like about 150 or 200,000 rupiah. I think also the same like when we sit for offline, something like that. Okay. The payment method also, because nowadays is very easy. This can be have cooperation with online payment application or system from Gojek, GoPay, OVO, Dana, Link Aja, and so on. They also support credit card, transfer bank, and many other things. And some of them already also has a cooperation with insurance company, but not many, something like that. This is also like at the moment, BPJS doing some evaluation, doing some pilot tests to support the telemedicine, temenin in I think like 7 or 10 areas, yeah, to use the BPJS, because the telemedicine also has issue about the finance, yeah, about the payment and so on. This is also, I think, is typical in developing country. If you see, again, infrastructure challenge in rural area of Indonesia. This is I took by myself when I traveled with team of the Ministry of Health to check, to prepare, to implement the temenin. We see that like here in South Sapor in West Papua, and the place is like, it takes 5 hours by car from Sorong. You have to go through the jungle, forest, without any signal at all. The speed is very low. That time also there's only 2G from the provider. This is 2019 that I took the picture. And they have to have the keyset, yeah, with a small very small aperture terminal using satellite. That's why it's very low bandwidth, and also it's very easy to be influenced by the weather. And also this is not a proper implementation because we don't have cage here and many other things on there. If you go also to the Orange Bari, also another place in West Papua, is luckier than South Sapor because near there there is a tower from Telkomsel for 4G, but again the speed is only 4.6 something. Before in 2017 I visited there, the speed was 25 Mbps, but nowadays it reduced like only 4 or 5. You know why? Because there are not so many users, so that's why Telkomsel decreased the speed. Otherwise, they have a high maintenance cost, something like that. This one also is very rural. In Tiong Ohang in 2019, I accompanied team of the Ministry of Health, Kemenkes. We traveled like 8 hours from Samarinda by car and continued by like 9 hours by boat in the river in Mahakam Ulu, and we reached in Tiong Ohang. It's near the Malaysia border. It's very rural, and also speed is very low, and they only have visit from the telecommunication provider. We have only Telkomsel, but it's only for 2G. So even SMS is very difficult to send it. But luckily, since many like 3 or 5 years ago, the government already initiated Project Palaparing to expand their internet backbone to everywhere in Indonesia using fiber optic in the sea. Then this is very good thing. I hope like next year, so many places in the rural area will have good internet connection. Then we can use more digital health to support any kind of health services there. And also, of course, ethical problem will be also the issue that we should be considered, because in telemedicine there are many stakeholders. We have patient, doctor, the clinician, the paramedic, the provider itself, the pharma industry, policymaker, and many other things. So meaning that we should consider how we can handle, we can keep the privacy, the confidentiality, informed consent, of course, for the doctor as well. It has a responsibility of the best treatment of the data use of the treatment and research, and many other things. And also for the service provider and administrator as well, we also have to follow some issues about the ethics to be considered, like cross-border culture. You are a medical doctor in Surabaya, you are serving a patient from Papua. We have different cultures. Sometimes there is miscommunication and so on. Then we should understand about that. Responsibility of right transmission of conferencing data as well. And nowadays also about the COVID is a global pandemic. We are talking about telemedicine service from other countries as well, like from Australia, from Singapore, Malaysia, and many other things, and so on, something like that. This is the opportunities anyway. You see that from the hotsuit 2020, we see that internet penetration in Indonesia is very high, very big. We have population like 270 million, but the mobile connection is more than that. We have 345 million, meaning that we have more mobile phone than the people itself. It doesn't mean that everybody in Indonesia has a mobile phone, but somebody in Indonesia has many mobile phones. That internet user is 200 million, and active media, social media user is very big as well, 120. But the problem as well, like when I visited to rural area, is about the digital literacy. Many people already have mobile phone, but they cannot use it properly. If we're talking about hate speech, hoax, bullying, and many other things, also very important to cope about that, including the health services as well. As you see, also the use of the mobile connection or internet connection to find the health or fitness and nutrition application also growing bigger and bigger. Last year was like 17%, 2020 becoming 23%. I think people get more and more, especially during the pandemic, because it's not the latest information. If you see in the during pandemic, I believe people who are looking COVID information is very, very big. Yeah, that's why also Ministry of Health trying to support the how to prevent hoax. Yeah, because so many people are believing about hoax and yeah, many bad things happen there. Here about the regulation, luckily government already supported. We got, as I told before, Kemenkes 2020 in year of 2019. It support for telemedicine or among provider, yeah. And last year, Minister of Health issued surat edaran. This very low actually, but it's good because allow us to use telemedicine or any kind of technology to support teleconsultation during pandemic, yeah, to help people stay at home and can still have some health services on that. And per council as well also issues the per council number 2074 last year, and from BPOM also support the e-pharmacy number 8 to 2020, control of drug and food that are distributed online, and still many other regulation. So also just like a few days ago, like 12 days ago, Ministry of Health announced the keputusan Menteri is much higher and much stronger than surat edaran before about the pedoman pelayanan kesehatan melalui telemedicine, how to handle the health services using telemedicine during the pandemic COVID, something like that. So then again, we have regulation, is good one. I hope someday it also goes to be Permenkes, ya, peraturan menteri. Again, it support the other group, client to doctor telemedicine. Between provider is already there, but client to doctor, doctor to client telemedicine, we still have only keputusan menteri, but it's still better compared to the last year surat edaran. So here, like some flow chart, how to handle the isoman or self quarantine for the people who are having some symptom from the COVID, yeah, and you have to stay at home, but still can has access to health services using telemedicine, any kind of technology, even just WhatsApp or SMS or phone call. You see this confirm patient with PCR, with no symptom or mild symptom, patient with contact history with compound person, patient with mild symptom, and then they can have a consultation with doctor via telemedicine, assessment, anamnesis, and so on and so on. And then they will be referred to conduct the self-quarantine program. And here, during the self-quarantine program or isoman, they can have some tips or information how to keep the health status, yeah, to drink the proper food and vitamin and many other things and so on. Also, you can use some evaluation tool like pulse oximetry, digital manometer, digital thermometer to monitor the status or the condition of the people who are suffering with COVID and so on. The patient monitor his condition independently following the doctor advice, and sometimes we have to follow up, maybe have to be transferred to the hospital and many other things. So this is the KMK or the Keputusan Menteri number HK 10174829 2020 from the new Ministry of Health, Minister of Health, Pak Budi Gunadi Sadikin. And at the moment, there are 11 providers involved, especially in DKI Jakarta, to support the telemedicine service for free. But I think the number is increasing. There are many providers and doctors who want to be involved in this. And this is also, Ministry of Health just also renewed the system to record all the COVID-19 cases with what we call NER, new all record. So the NER can be integrated into COVID-19 telemedicine. Once you got confirmed positive on many other things, from the hospital or from the laboratory clinic and many other things, data will be sent to the system of NER, and then the patient will be sent a message from the ministry using WhatsApp, and then they can be referred to conduct the self-isolation or self-quarantine. And also they can can have support from online consultation using telemedicine and many other things. But again, in new all record is a very good system, and also can be integrated to many other things like from the requirement scan. You know, if you're familiar with e-hack, when you go to travel, let's say you want to fly from Jakarta to Yogyakarta, then you already recorded by the system, and you already got the vaccine twice, and you are a negative result from the PCR and so on. Just show the e-hack application into the board and the gate and the airport, and you are free to go. But if not, then your travel will be cancelled, and many other things like also the venue check-in if you want to visit, let's say in the future, watching concert or visiting the travel destination area and so on. Everything will be monitored by the system someday. Okay, I think that's all of my presentation. It's just sharing story experience. I hope it will be useful for you, and we'll give it back to the moderator, Pak Arif. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Pak Arif.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Surahyo. It's very interesting, and sorry, it is very interesting and extraordinary. I think very informative presentation from Mr. Surahyo, and I think I have a notice from your presentation in pandemic era with the development of telemedicine faster and faster. So we are the PMIK or the Health Information Management Technician must adopt very well. Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Surahyo. And now we are moved into question and answer session. Yeah, we have already two questions for Miss Diana for the first, as we can see on the screen. And okay, the first one is from Mr. Cecep Roni, okay, from Rumah Sakit Hasan Sadikin. The question about how accurate is the handling of patient with this telemedicine? Okay, it's the first one, and the second one from Dika Maulana Pembriadi from Bandung also. Here he questioned about how to create an optimal telemedicine service in terms of patient service and proper filing or patient medical record. Okay, Mrs. Diana, are you there? Oh, still, okay, one question more. From Yuli Fitria, Mediacom. How far can we implement the digital signature as authentication of EMR in the hospital and telemedicine service in the pandemic area? Okay, there are three questions for Miss Diana. Miss Diana, are you there? Ibu Diana? Halo, Ibu. Still muted, Ibu.
I'm sorry because the host not doesn't unmute me.
Okay, okay. There are three questions from the audience for Miss Diana. Okay. May you answer the question, please?
The first question is from Mr. Cecep, right? Yes. How accurate is the handling of patients with telemedicine? By utilizing digital platform, actually health workers can diagnose, treat, prevent, and evaluate the condition of patients who are far from the health facilities. Several diseases that can be accurately diagnosed using telemedicine services are like diabetes, hypertension, both of which are the highest causal medicine services. People with these diseases can be monitored more intensively and accurately. But according to my opinion, not all health services can be accessed through telemedicine. Like in certain cases, there are times when face-to-face meetings between doctors and patient are still necessary. So, and not all diseases can be diagnosed only by taking a history using telemedicine services. So the process of making a doctor's diagnosis through the digital health platform is far from perfect, maybe. But in addition, online consultation with doctors through digital platform should only be carried out as a preventive or measures and not treatment or curative. One of the diseases that can be diagnosed through telemedicine service, like fever, doctor can ask the patients to take the body temperature independently or by himself. Then the results are shown to the doctor, either can be via picture messages or video calls. But actually, it's not easy to answer the accuracy of the handling of patient with telemedicine. But the important point that can be taken, that the more complete the technological equipments, I think the accuracy will be more increased. I think that's all. Mr. Arif, it's number one.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with your opinion that
the next question.
yeah. The second question, okay. Can you share the committee the question? Okay. Yeah. The second question from Dika Maulana Pemberiadi. How to create an optimal telemedicine service in terms of patient service and proper filing or patient medical records.
Okay, thank you for Dika. I think the creating optimal telemedicine services, it should be by integrating telemedicine with electronic medical records, so that all recorded data will be stored in real time in the electronic medical record, and it is most perfect if all electronic medical records are integrated into electronic health records, so that data flows in real time from any levels, from the referral hospital to higher level hospital. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dana. And the third question. Okay, this is from Aprilita. Yeah. Sorry.
Yuli.
From Yuli Fitria, Mediacom. Okay. How far can we implement the digital signatures as authentication of electronic medical records in the hospital and telemedicine service in the pandemic area?
Okay. The digital signatures here, maybe do you mean that digital signature here is not an electronic signature, right? Because there are some definitions for an electronic signature is any signature that is created or captured through a computer or other electronic device like a scan. Electronic signature can include touch sensitive screen when you use your finger or a stylus to sign your name as you would on a paper document. Electronic signatures can also include forms where you merely type in your name and perhaps other identifying information, then check a box stating that you intend to sign the document. But for digital signatures, introduce another level of authenticity by using a cryptographic operation to bind the signature and the data being signed. So it creates a unique fingerprint that cannot be duplicated and authenticates the document with a digital code. This is done through the public key infrastructure, which is a set of requirements that allow the digital signature to be unique. According to me, how far is our readiness to implement the digital signature is according to the policy of leader. If the leader, if the institution are ready to implement it, so just conduct it. Because it is already also implemented by the Ministry of Health in Data and Information Center or Pusdatin. They are now using the digital signature for the officers. So I think this is my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Diana. I hope the participant will catch your answer. Okay, next we are moved to the question for Mr. Surahyo. Okay, we have several questions. The committee, would you please share?
I cannot see the.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Sorry. Okay, this Surahyo, I want to ask to Mr. Surahyo about telemedicine at hospital, which not use electronic medical record database.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, technical. Okay.
Oh yeah, but anyway, I got the question. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I will try to answer it.
Yeah.
It's talking about the medical record, right? So if we let me share something if it is possible. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is some table of comparison between Ministry of Health Circular to 203 2020 and the per council. Yeah, and here those two regulation updated by the newest one 6th of July Keputusan Menteri 2020. It says that during the telemedicine services, we should have a medical record. Either this recorded manually or electronically by the doctor. But again, in the implementation, I believe sometimes it has some difficulty there. But during the pandemic, Ministry of Health is saying that this is, we call it a relaxation of the regulation. So meaning that number one is serving the patient, but of course, you should make a medical record properly, but sometimes if you cannot because some emergency situation, yes, it's okay. But once the pandemic situation over, is already finished, it has to have the medical record. This is already written in the regulations, so meaning that we cannot avoid, or maybe we can just also maybe warn to the medical doctor who has no medical record during the telemedicine service, something like that. So meaning that my answer is in this time in the during pandemic situation, this is a relaxation of regulation. Maybe sometime you cannot make it. That's fine, but once the pandemic over and we have the stronger regulation, you should have the medical record recorded either just manually, which is maybe writing something on the paper and take a picture and send it to the system, or automatically using the electronic system, something like that. I think this is my first answer, Pak Arif. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Bapak
And
Surahyo. So
and the second question I already also read in the chat. This is talking about the informed consent, right? Is it correct?
yes,
Yeah, okay. Yes, again, also the same thing. Unfortunately, the regulation from the Ministry of Health during the pandemic, either in Surat Edaran or in Keputusan Menteri 2021, it doesn't say exactly about the informed consent, but in the Per Council number 74, it says that you have to have informed consent for the patient. What kind of the form or the type of the informed consent? Either maybe you just record by using like say WhatsApp conversation and so on, or maybe you have to make some a proper a form, maybe using Google Form and many other things. At least you have to ask the permission of the patient to have it. But again, this is also like ambiguous. This is a gray area because still in the pandemic area, Per Council has a more strong push, but in from the ministry, it doesn't have the strong push. But actually, during the telemedicine services, we also should have the informed consent. Also, if you're talking about the private telemedicine provider, yeah, let's say using Click Doctor, Halodoc, and so on, I think there is no informed consent properly. I just some of them already have, but some of them not. So then meaning is a gray area. But based on the regulation, we should have the informed consent. I think this is my answer. Yeah.
okay, thank you, Mr.
And
Surahyo. Committee, would you share the third question, please?
I think I already got one answer. It's talking about the
Yeah.
how to make a
So
diagnosis using the some device,
another
right?
yeah, the other participant maybe like to see again.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from City Lestari from Columbia Hospital. Issue is